Okay, everything's green. Hope it stays green. Let's turn the music on. There we go. Oh, hello. Just gonna do one more quick check just to see if things didn't break as soon as I went live. I don't think it did. I hope it didn't. Well, everything seems to be okay. Okay, so to anyone who's dropping by, hi. So I'm about to just over explain everything about crests. Well, not everything. I don't know everything about these, but I do know quite a fair lot, I think. So well, here's the tier list. Like, I'll just explain this real quick. And I can't think of a better word rather than tier list, but I don't necessarily think that hello. I don't necessarily think any of these are bad. So these aren't like in order of like best to worst. So it's like that's why I captioned these with like well, captions rather than letters. So favorite, they're my favorite. Like, out of all the swords you have in the game, which we have about over 100 now, I think. These are my favorites. Great. Like, I really like these ones. Like, I think they're unique. I'll put down the criteria shortly in a bit. Requires further reading for context. So, like I said, I know a lot, but not everything. So, I didn't have time to, like, research on all of these. So, some of these I don't, like, I feel like it's unfair to give my opinion right away because I don't actually know, like, the whole story about it. A bit plain, but not bad. So there's some of the crests where they're essentially just the same as the family crests of their owner. So, like, I feel like as a sword there should have been something else, but sometimes, like, that's just how it is. Self-explanatory. So, like, what you see in the mon is what they are. So, okay. For general criteria, it's how readable is it at smaller sizes? I think this is important because well, mon is usually put on clothing in like varying sizes. Sometimes they're big, sometimes they're small. So if they're small, like, I think it's important for a mon to be readable. Like, you have to be able to tell what it is even if it's not as big and you can't see all of the details. How recognizable is it as a unique sword identity? That's why I have like the last two tiers, which is a bit plain and self-explanatory. So it's like you can recognize that it's a crest, but you won't, like, sometimes they won't be associated with a sword boy. Like, how sword boy is the vibes in a way, and it makes my brain go wee. Like, this is just subjective to me and my preferences. Like I said, not just because they're at the lower tiers doesn't mean they're bad. Like, this is just my favorites. Di ako Pinoy kasi di ako late. Thank you. Although, like, this one's gonna be archived anyway, so it's okay if people show up late. So, yeah, there's my criteria. These are not in order of best to worst. I guess I should get started because I have 100 to talk about. Okay. So, first one is, oh yeah, by the way, before I start pala, thank you so much to Sky. Like, Sky, if you're watching this back, thank you so much for getting this set up because I could not do this entire video without them making this for me. Like, it was so nice of them to offer to get it made for me. So the link to this tier maker is in the video description. So if you ever want to like try and do it yourself, like just share your own opinions as well, you can definitely do that. Ate Nona voice reveal? I guess so, but oh, hi Mono. So like, well, I do like stream a bunch here. Most of the times I don't talk, but yeah, this is my voice. So okay, let's get started. For Inaba. So Inaba's like the latest go that we got put up, even though he's kind of been hinted at for a very long time. So his crest it's quite simple. It's the Inaba clan, like the 3 lines, although the traditional crest for the family is actually in a hexagon, not a circle. But then it's got like the 3 lines in the middle. And like there's bat wings at the bottom, which you can also find on his design. It's on his glove. Admittedly, I don't know why he has the wings, but like I think it's cool. Like so I guess I would probably put it at requires further reading because I like it, but I'm not sure exactly what's with the wings, so that's kind of a make or break for me. Sasanuki. This one's a good one because Sasanuki is from the Shimazu region. So their crest is a circle with a cross in the middle, like exactly the shape. But what Token Ranbu did for him is that they turned it into bamboo shoots, like 4 bamboo shoots arranged in a cross with like an inner ring of bamboo, since his story is related to like bamboo and stuff. So it's very good. I like it a lot. Like, let's put it at great for now, because I know it's such an effective and readable design, but I'm not sure if I would say it's my favorite. Okay. Onimaru. Did you include the crest of the new sword boy? No, I might like include him like later, like we could just talk about him after everything's done, because we don't have his like clear crest yet, and I haven't done my research on it, but there was like some commentary about it like while we were waiting for the reveal. Later, we'll see if I still have the brain cells for Nukemaru. Okay. Onimaru, let's put him at... okay, so this is a bit difficult because I think it's cool because it's definitely, it shows an Oni being slashed, so like that's his story, like that's why he's Onimaru Konitsuna. But I kind of don't think it's as readable as a mon in smaller sizes, so it kind of like has like point deductions in that department. But it's cool, like it definitely says what it's supposed to be. And they really went hyper detailed with this, but I also can't tell if it's like, I kind of want to put it at self-explanatory because it's like, it's a bit cluttered. I kind of don't like it as much because of that, but it's also just kind of an awesome like show of effort. I guess we'll put it at great for now. Naki. So Naki's self-explanatory. It's nice and simple and readable. Like I said, the bottom ones don't mean I don't like them as much, but I think these are like self-explanatory. They're very simple. So there's a fox. He's a sword about a fox. What else can I say? Ichigo Hitofuri. So his crest is self-explanatory because that is the Paluwonias, which belongs to the Toyotomi, which is of course his most prominent owners, and he's even like, his hair is even modeled after the Osaka castle's roofing. So yeah, that's pretty much it for Ichigo. Not much else to say. Actually, honestly, most of the Toshiros fall under self-explanatory. I guess Namazuo would have to go here too. So he's got Wisterias and the catfish, which is called a Namazuo in Japanese. That's pretty much it. Honebami. His is very similar. He's got the Wisterias as well, and then he's got rib cages because Honebami is like bone eater. Yeah, so rib cages, bones. Hirano. He's got the kanji for... Well, I guess I would put him at a bit plain because it's basically just the Wisteria, then the kanji for Hira. I think it's Hira, yeah. Which differentiates him from Maeda. Look, if we put them right next to each other, it's basically the same. So I kind of honestly mix them up often. If it weren't for the fact that I've just been really into Token Ranbu for the longest time, I still wouldn't be able to tell which one's supposed to be Hirano and which one's supposed to be Maeda. So there. Atsushi. Of course, for the reading, I remember I kind of tried to look for this, but I actually have no idea what it's supposed to be. I do think it's pretty cool though, like it's just 3 simple shapes with some divots in them. Goto. Requires more context. I'm not sure why he has like three coins. I think those might be coins. Same with Shinano. I think Shinano is supposed to be a bunch of feathers, but again, I didn't have time to look this up. Mikazuki is self-explanatory. He's got crescents because he's the moon man. We all know that story. Okay, we're at one of the fun ones. Akita is one of my favorites because I think the designers did a really good job with this, because actually his entire crest is a whole should I say, redesign of the one for the Akita clan. The Akita clan's crest is it's a fan with eagle feathers. So it's Hinoki no Ogi, so Hinoki fan with eagle feathers. But the thing is, that crest is actually literally in the shape of a fan with like feathers on it as decoration. So what Tokenranbu did was they turned it into a circle format, and like, so here's the feathers and then here's the fan motifs on either side. I think it's very cool, it's very pleasing, it's unique, yet it pays homage to his previous owners. Hakata, I think, well, I guess we should put this at further context, because I think the thing in the back is tree bark, but I haven't really researched what that exactly means. But I do like it. Like, I love the wave motifs on it, because I'm just very partial to nautical themes. Yeah, it's like Akita's is really clever. It's one of my favorite. Midare. So I'm not sure which flower this is, but I think it's great because, well, if you compare it to most of the traditional, most of the Awataguchi crests, this one is slightly less traditional, which makes sense because the reason Midare is quite special is because compared to most of his siblings, his hamon is Midare pattern. So Midare is like chaos or messy, while everyone else had a straight hamon for the most part. So I think him having a less than traditional crest, because I don't think this is like pattern over anything in particular. I might be wrong though, because again, I don't know everything, but I think it's pretty cool. It's one of my favorites because I like the use of black detailing for like the petals, because it's very heavy on black, but you can still definitely tell it's a flower with like the little accent lines as well. Gokotai, I don't know. I need more context for this one because I think it's referencing to the Uesugi, because I think the Uesugi have like something with like the 5, with like the number 5s and the wisteria, but I didn't have time to check. Yagen. This one too, like this one I'm just absolutely at a loss at what this one's supposed to be. Like, I tried to research this, but what do you even call this? Like, I honestly don't know how to describe it. It looks cool, it's great, it's one of the more unique ones, but I can't figure out what this is supposed to be. Let's see. Hocho. Okay, so Hocho has 3, I think these are supposed to be cranes as well, because should I guess we'll put it at great. I like this one a lot. So his has cranes because the famous chef Takatada, basically a chef once used him to carve cranes, like, because Hocho is like shaped like as a kitchen knife, so I think it's paying homage to that. Okanehira, also great. So his portrays well, I'm actually not sure if it's supposed to be a moth or a butterfly, but the thing with that is apparently back then in the olden days of Japan, those two were actually interchangeable. Like, they kind of saw both butterflies and moths as the same thing. It's just like they called it morning butterfly and evening butterflies, if I remember correctly. So, and on top of that, the butterfly associated with greatness, and I think it's like also a wordplay thing. Like, the name for it, chocho, is very similar to like a term for something great and eternal, you know, like just all the big loud stuff that Okanehira likes to call himself. So I think it's very fitting that he has this in the context of what butterflies mean in Japan. Ugui Sumaru, so yeah, self-explanatory, it's a bird. He's a bird. And I forgot what the flower was. Oh dear. But yeah, but you know, he's named after a bird, so he gets a bird crest. Akashi requires further reading because I think this is like a lotus, but I'm not sure why he would have a lotus. I think it's very cool though. Like, it's one of the more unusually shaped crests in the game. Like, most of them, as you can see, are circular, or well, we actually haven't gotten to like the any of the square or like angular ones yet. Hotaru, I think this one's great because it actually took me a while to like figure this out, like because it's like just a bunch of lines with a circle in the corner. So you're like, what is that? I'm not sure what that's supposed to be. Then if you kind of look at it, and this is just my interpretation, this isn't confirmed, but I think it checks out. So these lines, they're like grass, like stalks of grass. Then this circle is like a firefly, and Hotaru is a firefly. So I just think it's so cool that they managed to simplify that concept into just a few shapes and strokes, and it is quite recognizable from a distance as well as a crest. So I think it's great. Kogitsune. So Wisterias, and let's put it great because it's Wisterias and like a fox motif in the middle, so that's a given. So Kogitsune, little fox. I would put it at great because I admire the use of this much black for a crest, because if you guys notice with my designs, I don't usually go this much on, like I don't go primarily black. It's usually a lot of white space. And like I kind of want to like study this a bit to like figure out how they made it look so pleasing, because even at a distance you can kind of tell what it's supposed to be. Like if you move away, you kind of stop seeing the face of the fox, but you kind of see that it's an animal in the center of the wisteria. Aizen, self-explanatory. It's the Sanskrit for the Aizen Myoo, which is what the dagger is named after. Pretty cool. Not much else to say. Sengo. Sengo's a favorite. I think you guys might have seen me make a post about what his crest is. So it's actually a bunch of mudras, which let me just pull up the list of the terms on it. Like they're all very nice to think about in the context of Sengo's character, because as we all know, Sengo's like kind of lascivious, medyo malandi siya. He's kind of a bit raunchy, but his crest is full of Buddhist symbolism. So the one in the center is Anjali, a gesture of greeting. It represents respect and veneration. The ones at top, the upturned palms, is Buddha Shramana, gesture of beyond misery or renunciation. Relates to the cycle of relates to the quest of escaping the cycle of rebirth, since like Buddhism, they believe that people are reincarnated. Oh, wait, sorry. The chat just came in slow. Yeah, like I'm glad that you agree, Mono, and yet Aizen's designs are like really cool. Yes, he is. So I'm glad that some of you guys agree with some of my like speculations with these. Okay, let's go back to explaining a bit about Sengo. So like upturned is related to escaping the rebirth cycle in Buddhism. Then the four middle ones are all Karana, the gesture of banishing, used against demons, illnesses, negative emotions, basically just kind of an exorcism kind of thing. Then these ones is Varada or Vara, the gesture of charity, represents compassion, wish granting, and charity. And the funny thing is, actually, just earlier when I was reviewing this, I realized that this one in the bottom, like the very small part under the center one, it's actually also a mudra. This one is the dhyana. It's basically used for meditation, which it also checks out for Sengo, because if you put him as attendant, then you leave him idle for a little bit, he starts chanting sutras, so he's actually meditating if you leave him alone. So I think it's very cool that someone that's so outwardly lewd has this much kind of protective symbolism in his crest, which I think really shows what he's actually is on the inside. Despite his all, oh, I'm a cursed sword, I'm dangerous. I love it. Tonbo. This might surprise everyone, but I think it's a bit plain. Because it's like, it's a dragonfly and it's cut in half. Like, I can't really ask for more, but I kind of think they could have done better with it. So yeah, I actually don't like his crest that much, which, quick segue, I wish I liked it better, because I wanna be, I wanna be one of the cool kids that have a sword, like the crest of their sword, their favorite sword tattooed on themselves. But I don't like Tonbos as much. So I think if I ever got like a tattoo like for Token Ranbo related slander, I mean like it's I don't know, I have to be honest, I don't think he'd hate me for it though. So if I ever had like a Token Ranbu related tattoo made, I would probably have to make a custom one for Tonbo or get someone else. I don't know, like yeah. Okay, back to discussing Monoyoshi. Monoyoshi is I guess it's a bit plain because it's basically just a stylized version of the Tokugawa's Hollyhock crests. Like it's just very simplified. Like not much else to write home about because he was basically Tokugawa Ieyasu's favorite sword, so it does make sense. But I kind of wonder if they couldn't have added a bit more good luck aspect to him. Like I could like look into it if there's anything they could have used, but yeah. I feel like it's a bit plain, but it does work. Taikogane. Taikogane is great because it's the Sparrow and Bamboo, which is words. This is basically the Date clan's crest, like just kind of altered, because usually the Date crest has bamboo and 2 sparrows. This one only has 1. But you can definitely see his relation to like the Date clan because of it. Kiko. Kiko's one of my favorites. This one's really good because it's just so good. Like okay, the thing with his name is it has a lot of meanings. Kiko means tortoise shell, so like the tortoise shell pattern is like a hexagon. Kiko, because of that, is also referring to the rope work style, which is what he wears under his clothes. So like there's a hexagon shape, then they made the outside border look like rope, right? Then Kiko is also related to the chrysanthemum because the flower is called Kiku in Japanese, and the sword does have like a hexagon engraving like this on the tang. Like that's also why he wears shibari, because it's like his little secret. You don't see the engraving until you like take off all the mountings on the sword. So I think it's so simple and effective. I love it, and I just really like the hexagon shape for crests because it's not as common, but it's very, very striking. Turtle. Yes, that's it. Kiko. Shokodaikiri Mitsudada. It's great because if we put it next to Taikogane's, you can see that they're both from the Date clan, but you can still tell their crests apart. So there's not much to like write home about Shokodaikiri. Like, you know, that's a Date clan crest. There's a sword. That's because he's a sword of Date. But you can still tell them apart with his buddy Taiko. Daihanya. Daihanya is I'll put him here. I'll put him at further reading. So a quick story about Daihanya is I remember when the sword teaser for him came out, they actually thought he was a sword of Sanada because of the 6 coins in the middle, because that's the Rokumonsen, which is the Sanada clan's crest. So that's why they kind of thought he was going to be one of them at first. But I think he has them because he was sold for 600 kan, I think is the currency, which is also like the same amount of like the sutras. So I think that's what he's supposed to be representing. Like this might be like a ring of coins like tied together, which is representing his value, which is what he's named after, like the Daihanya. Like, that's the sutras. Like that's just conjecture right now. So I put him at further reading because I really should read up on him more. I didn't realize na rope pa yun. Yeah, you don't actually notice it's rope right away because it just looks like very cool. It kind of even looks like the camera thing, like the aperture on camera lenses. But then when you think about it, then I thought about it really hard and like, oh, it was supposed to be that. So I really liked it because of all the hidden stuff that's in there apart from like just being simple enough to be obvious what it's supposed to be. Koryu. Koryu is self-explanatory. Again, this row is not bad. So it's like Koryu, little dragon. He has a dragon on his crest, which is reasonable because he is named after like that dragon pattern on like the blade. Like he's called Koryu because it got shortened when the sword itself was shortened, so the crest was caught up in it as well, so it got shorter. Kosetsu, I'll have to put and honestly all the Samonjis will have to go into further reading because they all share this symbol here, like the crescent with like the extra stuff like the clouds and whatnot, but I'm not sure what it's supposed to be. I think it's cool, like I really like that they all have it, but I don't know what it is. But for Kosetsu, I think the triangular shape is supposed to be a reference to the Hojo because his original owner, Kosetsusai Itabeyoka, was a retainer to the Hojo clan, so I think it might be that. And then like Sayo just has like the crescent one, so I'm not really sure what to make of it. Soza is interesting because he has that same pattern, but it's very tiny compared to what I'm pretty sure is like the Oda clan's crest, which is the, what's its name? Quince? I don't know how to pronounce that flower's name, but that's the Oda clan's crest, which makes sense for him. Actually, let's put him at great because this one makes a lot more sense. I think it's really cool that you can see the Samonji thing in part on him, but it's dominated by the Oda clan symbol, which makes sense because he was kind of like branded by Oda when he got them. Like they made sure that people knew that he was Oda's sword, so his identity kind of got overwritten by that in a way, which is pretty sad, but I think it works really well for a sword symbol. Next is Ishi. Requires further reading because I mean, like I could just guess that it's probably like, you know, cut a stone with a sword, because like that's what the name means, like stone cutter. But you know, like it's still quite vague. I want to know if these like circle symbols mean anything in particular, if like they belong to a shrine or a family. Cashew and let's see. I guess further reading for Cashew and Yasusada, because that flower is, I think that's actually a water chestnut, the hishi, or a diamond-shaped flower, which is like a very commonly used motif for a lot of crests. Like, I wasn't able to follow up on it, but apparently some symbols, including the water chestnut flower, is used by commoners because it's like they aren't really like restricted with like great family lineages, so if they needed a crest they can just like put together their favorite elements, which in Cashew's case, because of his like the thing he says about being the child under the river, I think it works out because as I mentioned, the flower is called a water chestnut. But I would love to look more on them because I think they're quite complementary, but also you can tell them apart. I think Yasusada's might be referencing his sword guard because I think it kind of looks like that, but again, I'm not sure about it. Lots of reading to be done. Kasen, this is another one that requires further reading. I don't really know what to make of it. I think it's like waves and clouds, but I'm not too sure why he would have that. But I guess it's like poetic, beautiful aesthetic stuff. Izumi no Kami, self-explanatory with Horikawa. The Mitsu, this symbol, like the 3 commas, is the Mitsu Tomoe. It's commonly used in lots and lots of sword crests. So, you know, well, actually, let's put it a bit plain, but not bad. Well, I'm torn because, of course, because it's like on one hand, because it's so common, it's used by many people, it makes sense for the swords of Hijikata Toshizo to have them, because they weren't really from like a prestigious family, and like they were even like kind of on the poor side even, so them having a very commonly used crest makes sense. But I also kind of wonder if they could have like made something better with these as well, but like personally I don't know how to improve on it either, so let's put it at self-explanatory for now. Utsunokami, I'm so tempted to put it on great because I'm biased for nauticals, but well, I mean, like, I guess I could put it there because, like, his thing for like the seafaring and nauticals, like that's very prominent in his design, so it would make sense for him to have an anchor as a crest. Manba Kuni. Let's see. Regarding Kassen, I embroidered his crest once and it was fun. Couldn't fill it out though without the stitching looking wonky, so it's so swirly, so I just did the outline. Yeah, I actually saw that mono. Like, I think you did a great job with it, honestly. It's a really cool anchor design. It is, like, it's a fun symbol to have. Like, I could definitely see it being used on like on shirts and on scarves. Like, you could just use it for so many things. Mutsu got such a cool crest, which he deserves because he's a cool boy too. Manba. I guess I would put it at self-explanatory. So, Yamanbagiri, like, he's named after the legend of, or rather, he just took Chogi's name, which Chogi is named after the story of how a sword, like the sword was used to cut down a mountain witch, which is the Yamanba. Like, I don't know if that's the full term for like the mountain witch, but that's the story. So it's a mountain with a cut on the side, which is pretty cool. Yamabushi, let's put him at great because this actually requires a bit of context and it's a very unique crest. I don't think the conch shell is used for like traditional family crests. At least I personally haven't seen it. So his crest features the horagai, or a conch shell, which is specifically used by yeah, sad blanket baby. It's okay, he stops being sad when he gets his kiwame. Okay, so Bushi's features the horagai, or like the conch shell, which is used by monks to communicate with each other across mountains. Like, once you realize what that is and what it's used for, him being loud makes so much sense because it's like he doesn't have an indoor voice because most of the time he wasn't indoors, he was out in the mountains. So he's used to like communicating with really loud noise. So like that's the conch shell, which as far as I remember, when I was looking up pictures of Yamabushi, like the actual mountain monks, they did have these with him. So, it makes perfect sense. Then there's this flowers on the sides, which I don't remember where they belong to because the Japanese crests have a lot of flowers and I'm bad at remembering which is which. Oh no, my screen is not fitting it anymore. Let me just fix that real quick. Hang on. Oops. Hang on. He's his own conch shell. Yes, he is. Let me just take a moment to like resize my cropping because I didn't realize that it would actually like shift. Like, I thought the icons would shrink, so I kind of have to fix that right now. Yeah, it took me okay, so I actually only found out about Yamabushi because I had this one evening where I did nothing but I kind of just like spent the entire evening researching about him. Like, I wanted to know how his headdress worked and I wanted to know what was with his I just basically had like a entire Yamabushi love mailing session one evening, and that's the result of it. I found all of that. I guess this might be okay for now. Hang on. 80, 50? No. Well, I could also. Okay, so let me just resize this real quick. My face have not. I feel when I not crying since I left my JP on Maru in 2018. Damn RNG notes on 600 kept screwing me over, so I just kind of gave up. No, it's fine. Thank you. Thank you for being patient with me. And I also realized I could also just kind of zoom out the browser itself. Oh my god, I didn't test this out at all. So prepared. Okay. This kind of works, I guess. It'll do for now. What happens, happens. Okay, unfortunately you guys can't see like what's next on the line now, so I'll just put them on right away before I start talking. Iwatoshi I guess requires further reading, because like Yamabushi, he's based off like a mountain monk. That's what his attire is about, so that's why he's kind of like got mountains and rocks on him. But I kind of feel like there might be something more to it that I'm not getting, so let's put him at requires further reading. I do quite like it a lot though. Hachiska, let's put him at self-explanatory. Wait, Yep, it did not fit it. I'm putting Hachiska at self-explanatory because his crest really is just the Hachiska family's crest. Surprises. So, I'll just talk about this real quick because I found out that the swastika, like that's what it is, like we all know what it is, and the unfortunate connotations with certain people that really messed up the world at some point. Like, I don't want to name it because like I don't know if it's gonna get me in trouble with YouTube, just to be safe. But in Japan, it's also called the manji, which is supposed to be apparently literally 10,000 characters. I don't know why, but before that certain guy appropriated this Buddhist symbol, it was meant to be for good luck and prosperity, and it came to Japan when they were doing trade with the Chinese, like when they basically got all like the characters and stuff. Like this was part of what they adopted. Urashima, let's put him at great because it's very simple and it's also kind of self-explanatory, but you also have to know what he's about first before you're actually like, oh yeah, that makes sense. So Urashima has the hexagon again, the Kiko, the tortoise shell, same as Kiko over there. He has this because he has the Urashima, I think it's called, the guy is called Urashimataro. Like the guy, it's like the folk tale about a guy that saved a turtle and got to go to like the dragon palace. That's why he also has Kamekichi, his little turtle friend, with him. So like simple as that. Like he has a tortoise shell because the story of the character that's engraved on him saved the turtle. That's it. Nagasone requires context. I have no idea which one this is supposed to be because like it's a very like plain one. Like it could be anything, but I don't know which one, so we'll have to look into that sometime. Higekiri has the I don't know the Japanese term for it, but these are autumn bellflowers. So I guess we'll put that self-explanatory because I wouldn't say it's plain, because I really do think this is such a cool crest design and it fits because they are like the Genji's treasures. Hizamaru kind of has it too, but in like a different format. Actually, like let's put him at like requires further reading because I don't know what this like curved part that looks like a ribbon is supposed to be, so I would like to look into that. Okurikara requires further reading. I think it's supposed to be a sun motif, but I'm not sure why he would have that, especially since he's called Okurikara, about like named after like the big dragon carving on the sword. So a lot of mystery around here. Gotta go now. Thank you, Jenica, for dropping by. Like this, if you want to listen to this like later on, it will be saved here on YouTube naman. Thank you so much for dropping by. Ingat and have a good evening. Heshikiri. Heshikiri is great. Actually, let's put it at great, because while it is basically just the Oda clan's crest and all, I think it's fascinating because you guys, we all know how his feelings are towards Oda, and yet he carries his crest like in a way. It's like saying that no matter how much he denies it, his identity is pretty much tied to the guy. And like I like the borders because it kind of also looks like a shelf. Like if you kind of like straighten it out, it looks like a basic wooden shelf, and it's been cut into pieces. Like that's what he did. So it's pretty cool. Fudo. Okay, Fudo is great. So the reason I put him as great compared to like Aizen, even though they kind of have the same concept, is because he also, like, aside from the Fudomyo-O's Sanskrit character, he also has the crane, which was also used as a crest of the Mori clan. So like one of the people that famously handled him was Mori Ranmaru, one of Oda's retainers. So it blends both those aspects together. I like that a lot. Shishio. Let's put him at great, because it's so the term Shishio is basically Great Lion or even Lion King, depending on who you ask. So that's why he's got like a lion motif on him. Like at first, I actually thought that it was supposed to be the Nue as well, but then after I looked at it a bunch, I guess it still could, because it's kind of got like that cloud motifs. But if you compare it to what's riding on his shoulder, the face does look different. So I think it's both the Nue and his name being lion related, which is I think also why he's got blonde hair and like kind of like that bushy silhouette to it. Kogarasu Maru. It's okay, so I'll put him at requires further reading because I know what this is. This is the Yatagarasu, or the three-legged crow, which is like a very important symbol in Japan. It's used by some shrines. However, I'm not the most familiar with his history and where he's located right now. If he might be located at the shrine where they use this as their like symbol, but I'm not too sure. But yeah, Yatagarasu, like the three-legged crow. Imanatsurugi is great because he also has like the Genji bellflowers to him. And I think this this is supposed to be like a boat, like, cause his owner has like that legend about like leaping across boats. So I think it might be that. Of course, like since the devs don't really talk about this, we may never know. But I think that makes sense. Sometimes I get Lion King when I Google Translate tweets about Shishio. Yeah, like it's really funny. Like that happens to me too. Like sometimes when I'm looking at like Sword Boy stuff and Shishio is there, randomly there's gonna be like, Lion King. I'm like, who? Why? Simba? Then right, Shishio. Right. Dodanuki requires context because the 4 diamond shapes arranged like that is the Takeda clan's symbol, but it might have been used by someone else, though I can't tell which of those has any relations to Dodanuki. However, the Takeda were known for like their military exploits, right? And Dodanuki was meant for wars. So I think that comparison kind of checks out. So and then like he has a slash for the helmet cutting feet. So like I kind of have the idea, but I need to confirm some stuff. So he's going in requires further reading. Okay, the view is still okay. Suromaru, self-explanatory. He's named after a crane. He's got the crane. What else can I say? Samidare. Let's put him at let's put him at great, because I like that he has like a rain hat on him for like Samidare, and he has like a little paw on the bottom which matches with Murakumo over here. So like they're very they're very fancy looking but also like traditional looking crests. I like them quite a lot because of that. And like Kumo has like little clouds on the corner. I also like how they kind of complement each other in terms of shape. Kotegiri requires further reading. I know that's probably a flower in the middle, but I'm not really sure what else it's supposed to be depicting. If anyone knows, please do let me do share, because I'm quite at a loss with Kotegiris as well. Tarotachi, it's great because it represents him being an otherworldly sword. Like, he's not a sword meant for people, he's a sword meant for the gods. So like there's like the gates and like a flying crane moving upward. It's very embellished, just very, very unearthly. Like, he's very something special. Jiro is also great because it's easily readable. It's got like a classic blossom motif with like some watery flowy designs to represent the booze, the liquor. And he also has like a tokuri and like a sake cup here, which is like, he's usually drunk and like more earthly than Tarotachi. And I think it's such a fun crest that they made for him, considering there wasn't really a whole lot to go off him. Like, Jirotachi as a character in Touken Ranbu is super fascinating to me because he really does make a good contrast with his sibling, but it's kind of like a very cool fanfic in a way, because as far as I remember, there isn't really a whole lot of like there wasn't any explicit notes about drinking or whatever that relates to the sword. I think Touken Ranbu just went with it to like show his more earthly nature, because like, getting drunk, pleasures and stuff, like him also being dressed as a more effeminate side, like the geisha and the meiko and stuff, which is like a very human sort of thing to indulge in. Nihongo, let's put him at great because it's the Kuroda's crest, which I can't remember what it's called. Oh no. But yeah, it's the Kuroda clans with like a sake cup relating to the drinking match from which he was taken from Fukushima Masanori. Otegine, I think it's great because it's got like 2 crossing pestles, which is what he's named after. Tomoe Gata and Shizuka are self-explanatory. Like, we would say it's plain, but it's like it's fitting. Like, I don't think they need to like change this up any further. So Tomoe Gata has a more flowy, rounded design because that's what the Tomoe Gata shape is for. Like the Naginata, it's supposed to be more for ceremonies, for like, it's also associated with women for being like smaller and lighter and like the curvy shape. While Shizuka is the straighter and larger edged one, which is the most commonly seen one for like warriors and such. Not much else to be said. They represent the shapes of the Naginata, so their crests reflect that. Mori is self-explanatory, so it's like just a stylized version of the Mori clan's crest. Kenshin and Azuki, let's put them both at self-explanatory because it is the Uesugi crest. Actually, let's talk about that. So both the Date clan and the Uesugi have the sparrow and bamboo motifs, but from what I know, it was the Uesugi that started using it first, then they kind of gave it to the Date clan to use, like as a gift of sorts. So yeah, like that just pretty much explains why they look so similar. And for Azuki, I think it's a nice touch that they put like Azuki beans in the middle of the sparrows, just to like reference the whole thing about cutting a bean. So Haya and Odenta requires further reading. I know Sohaya has the hollyhocks for like the Tokugawa, but I don't really know what the star is on top supposed to be, as well as like the symbol that Odenta has. Oh no, let me resize real quick again. Good lord. Okay, that fits. We're almost done too. Like, I think we only have 2 rows left. Hyuga. Oh no. It won't let me drag at this size, that I have to like resize like this. Wait. Where did Hyuga's go? I think I placed it somewhere. Oh dear. Where'd it go? Oh no. I goofed, you guys. I goofed and I am blind. Ah, here we go. Here. Requires further reading. I don't know what the middle symbol is supposed to be. When I was looking around researching for crests, this the closest symbol I saw was like supposed to be a lightning bolt, like the path of lightning. But I don't think this is quite that. And like I don't see why it would be that either. So yeah, like I'm kind of at a loss with this one. Buzen, same with that. Like I think that's a tree bark symbol in the middle, but again, I didn't really look into what it was, so I have no idea. Then there is like a wheel type of crest. I can't remember what it's called, but it's like more of like a steering wheel for a ship. So I don't think that's what this is. Nene Kirimaru. I guess we'll put him at great. Or actually, well, let's put him at further context, because I actually quite like this one because it's an interesting shape, and it kind of just looks like a bunch of the antlers that he wears on his head, like as a crown, which is like a crown and circles, you know, kind of similar to that. But there might be something else to it that I'm missing right of the moment. Manba. Further context, because it mirrors Kunihiro's. Like Kunihiro's slash is on the right, his is on the left, and it's a bit more sleek and angular. But I don't know why he has like so many Mitsudomoe to him yet, like, because there's a lot of clans that use like a group of Mitsudomoe, but I'm not sure which one we're supposed to reference for Chogi. Hako-san. Yeah, same with this one. I think that's a flower in the middle, but again, I didn't really look into it too much yet. Nankai. Same with this one. It's a flower, but I'm not sure whose crest this is supposed to represent and like which flower this is, because it kind of looks like the water chestnut, but also not quite. And the problem with like flowers and like family crest is they kind of sometimes stylize these things differently, but then they're actually supposed to be the same flower. So when I do research for these, I have to like check the Japanese labels for them, like the descriptions, to like really figure out which flower it's supposed to be. And yeah, Nankai, it's, you know, I think it's a bit on the plain side, like the ones over here. But I don't know whose this is supposed to be, so we gotta look into that. Hizen, I found like this star shape pattern in a crest before, but I don't remember what family it was, and he has like, I think it's a very cool and unique one in Token Ranbu as well. It's got like, I think those might be pestles as well, but I'm not too sure, and a flower in the middle. Koana is great because he has the Tokugawa hollyhocks in the middle with rice around the, like rice encircling it, like, you know, he's related to like farming and stuff. That's his whole gig is. He's the farm boy, but like, he's like the Tokugawa's farm boy. So, you know, simple, but I think it looks quite cool. I like the sort of rippling effect the rice stalks give, encircling the hollyhocks. Sui and Minamoto, I need to look into this. I think it's very cool. However, I have no idea what it's meant to be, but it is one of the more unique symbols crests in the game, because it's a triangle, an upside down one at that. And it's you could definitely make this with like traditional Common making techniques, which is to say straight lines and circles. But it's also got a modern look to it, so I think it's very cool because Sui Shinshi and Minamoto were supposed to be like, they were kind of the pioneers of their sword era in a way, so which is like the final one before like modernization stuff, so it checks out. But I don't know what the symbols are yet. Matsue, yeah, another one that requires reading. It kind of looks like a cross in the middle, so you could say maybe it's a rosary, but that's a lot of big maybes. It's very cool though. Like, it's also a unique one for, especially for the circular ones. Like, it's another one of those designs where it's heavy on black, but it's still quite readable. I just don't know where to start with it, like how to search this up, but I would definitely love to figure it out. Nikari. Nikari is one of my favorites because, wait, let me okay. I do know that the dumbbell-like things on the side of Sour and his crest were a symbol of the Tosa Imperialist Party. Oh, that's pretty cool. Like, I'll definitely want to like check that out for myself as well. But that's definitely like a good place to start with for this. Thanks for like sharing, Mono. Like, I'd love to like double check on that later. Anyway, Nikari. Nikari is one of my favorites because we should zoom in for this one so you guys can get a better look. Okay, there we go. Nikari's is very cool because it's another one of those like very heavy on black designs, but how do I word this? Like, there's just so much going on with it here, but it's perfect because, okay, let's start with these on the side. Nikari's story is about how his owner encountered a ghost woman with a child, and he tried to cut it down, but then later on he found out he just cut down a stone lantern. So if you put these two halves together, it represents the stone lantern he cut, and then like in the middle is like the ghost woman. So, you know, it's like, it's so perfect. Like, I love that. And it's such a good use of like the black too, and like the misty cloudy details to like give it a ghostly appearance. And like it's dark because he encountered them in the evening. It's just so cool. I love it so much. Like, perfect, amazing. Like, I have a mutual that has a tattoo of this crest, and like, it looks so good. I'm so jealous. And then let's zoom back out so I don't have to scroll as much, because I think it might be a bit dizzying to watch if I scroll up and down a bit often. Juzu. Let's put him at great because it definitely works. Like the lotus, you know, a symbol of the Buddha. He's a Buddhist sword. Juzu Maru, he's named after the rosary beads. That's why he's got that in the middle, and it's like twirling in an infinity symbol. But I feel like here in the stream, you can see it right now, it's a little hard to like decipher. Oh, those are lanterns. Yeah, they're lanterns. Like, I do know that some people kind of miss that as well, and personally I didn't realize it was that as well until I looked at pagoda lanterns. Like, I was drawing something, I was like, oh, this looks like Nikari's, it looks like Nikari's crest. Then I go, whoa, mind blown. So yeah, that's that. And like Juzu's, like it's good, it works, but I can't quite say it's my favorite because it's a little hard to read at smaller sizes and a bit way too detailed. I'm also not sure what the stars on the stars surrounding it is supposed to be. Like, maybe it's just like a halo of sorts. I don't know. Sancho mo. Mm, okay. Okay, let's put Sancho here. Okay, so we're about to go into like the Ichimonjis, which I think is, I actually rearranged the how these appeared when I loaded it up so I could like talk about them one after another. Sanchomo has like a pheasant bird because one of the his name can be also, it can also be read as Yamatorige, so it's mountain pheasant, so that's why it has it here. And if we zoom in a little bit, you can see a bit of flame up top, which is also a reference to, oh, it's also down here in below the Ichi character, which is, you know, Ichimonji. So it contains both the elements of like one reading, which is like the bird, and like one for the flames, which is also, what was the other, I can't remember the other way to read his name, but the other one refers to the flames. So I think it's really cool that his crest managed to fit everything from his like Ichimonji lineage, the birds and the flames. It's awesome. And it does work. Well, it's a little cluttered when you zoom it out, but I still think it's cool. Ichimonji no Rimune. It's great because it has the Ichimonji and the Ichi character, and it has the Kiko. It has the chrysanthemum because he is also known as the Kiko Ichimonji, like one of those rather. So yeah, like it's a great blend of stuff that just works together. Nico's a little cluttered, but again, I just personally do think the Ichimonji crests are very cool and they get the job done super well. So Nico has the Ichimonji character and then the Kuroda symbol, like very similar to Nihongo. Like, let's put them together real quick here. How do I arg? Let's put here. See? Like, there's similarities because they're both from the Kuroda family. So Nico is very cool because his design really is a mix between the Ichimonji aesthetic and the Kuroda. Because like, if you notice, Nihongo and Hasebe are both kind of purpley bluish as long as alongside Sayo. So like they're kind of like, that's kind of their thing with the whole the wisterias and stuff as well. And then Nico has purple hair for that, but he's also wearing like the red and white outfits of the Ichimonji, so he's kind of like in between. It's quite nice. And Himetsuru, so Himetsuru is a nice complement to Sanchomo's, which is nice because he's supposed to be the, was he the left-hand man or was it Nico? But yeah, like Nico and Himetsuru are Sanchomo's most trusted confidants in a way. So there's a crane, and I'm not sure what the flower is supposed to be, but you know, it's they just look so good together when put together like this. And last is Nansen. Nansen is a lot simpler than the other ones. It's the hollyhocks again for the Tokugawa and like the Ichi character. But I think it's okay for him to be like simple because like his whole deal in Token Run was like he's kind of a nerfed Ichimonji because of the curse. So like I guess it kind of fits that even his curse design seems nerfed next to his relatives. So it kind of like really gets you thinking about him and like his relation to the family. Kokin Denju no Tachi. Yeah. This one's very cool. I know it's another flower, or maybe it's the ends of arrows, but I'm not sure which one would be more appropriate. I definitely would love to like search about him as well. Jizo, same with Jizo. And here, we're going into the Ryukyuan treasure swords. Chiyo Ganemaru. So the Ryukyuan swords all have very similar looking crests, which makes sense because like they're in a set of threes. Chioganes is mainly just the waves, the wave pattern, since you know his whole water motifs and such. Chiganes got like that feathery thing, which is also in his hair, as well like a cloudy stuff, which I think is like supposed to be representative or similar to like him being a shadow and the like. Chatana has a hibiscus, because if I remember correctly, the hibiscus is an important symbol for Okinawa as of present. So you know, they're just very representative of their region, and I think that's very good because it's I don't want to get too too hot and opinionated on here because I think it might like cause some arguments, but like let's just say it's important that that Token Ranbu did not skimp on the representation for them, especially how the whole thing that happened with like Ryukyu kingdoms annexing from Japan. So yeah, also as a segue, I kind of wish though that they did actually go with the Chigane Maru's name is, it's actually apparently in Ryukyu it's actually pronounced as Jigane Maru. So part of me wishes they kind of kept with that way of writing, but on the other hand, because he and Chiyo are like, they're a bit more adjusted to like being part of the Yamato or like the mainland Japan because of their mountings, because they're like, the swords were made in Ryukyu, but the mountings, like the handles and the guards, are made in Yamato. So they're kind of like naturalized in a way, but also not quite. So it kind of makes sense that they kept the more common Japanese pronunciation and writing for them. But you know, it's like, I feel like that's where they kind of lack in representation. But I digress. I'm not a Japanese, neither am I a Ryukyu one for that matter, so I shouldn't say so much about it. But just my 2 cents on that matter. Taiko. So here, Taiko got left behind with his family. Oops. So let's put him here. He is, I already explained why I think I should do more research on that little symbol, and I'm also not the most familiar with his ownership, so I'm not sure why he would have this plant. Oh, wait, actually, I think if I remember correctly, Taiko is supposed to be Toyotomi's, right? Like Toyotomi Hideyoshi, and there was like that thing about him being called a monkey and stuff. So I think it might be that, but again, need to do more research. Overall shape of Kokin's crest resembles the Navgraha crest of the Hosokawa clan. Oh, thank you so much, Mono. Like, I'm very glad you're here and like sharing, because you're really covering a bunch of the stuff that I'm still unaware from now. So I'm definitely going to take note of this and maybe look at it after the stream, which we're almost done. Thank you so much for that. Like, I actually really like Kokin, Denju no Tachi, and Jizo, but I also haven't had the time to research on them because I'm a very distracted person. Ochidori Jumonji Yari. Let's put him at great, because the top part pretty much is what a Jumonji Yari shape is. So, you know, like, they very much nailed that's what his shape is. That's what he's known for. So I think they did such a nice job stylizing it for the sword, or rather, well, spear. Hanjin requires a bit more context, because I don't know what plant this is supposed to be, but they definitely did include the Rokumonsen, like the 6 coins symbol, which is like for the Sanada clan. So I think it's very cool. I like the asymmetrical shape of it, because it's like the top is kind of like a diamond, but then the bottom is also kind of circular. It's a very unique crest. so I would like to learn more about it. Fukushima is self-explanatory because his his crest is just the Fukushima Omodaka. What's it called? I forgot what it's called in Japanese, or rather like in English. But that's basically the family crest, just a slightly stylized, like the lines at the bottom. Like those are solid in like the traditional crest. Finally, Shichi Seiken. I think it's a bit plain, cause he's like supposed to be like the North Star and stuff. Like I guess it makes sense, but I also think they could have maybe done a bit more with him, cause Shichi Seiken is 7-star sword, referring to the Big Dipper or like Ursa Major, which I did see like a design which has the constellation on it. So although admittedly it kind of looked a little funny and childish, but I think they could have worked something out to like make it cooler instead of just like a simple star, because this doesn't scream like this. I guess it's the North Star, but it's also like he has 7 in his name, you know? Like I kind of feel like they should have done more with that. But you know, it's not bad. It works. I just feel like they could have done more with it. And that's it. We're basically done. Like let's zoom in, I guess. Okay, there we go. So my favorites are this is actually unexpected for me because I haven't like laid it out like this for me to see, so it's quite interesting. So the only ones in my favorite tiers are Akita, Sengo, Kiko, and Nikari, and I think it's an interesting little set too because there's 2 circular ones, then a hexagon, and a diamond. Great. These ones are great. I talked quite a bit about it, and there is so much I still would love to read on, and I think I will. I definitely will read on these because crests are supposed to be like an identity for the family, and for the swords that's pretty much the same concept as well. And as you guys know, I really like if Go Voyager's crest. No. Anyway, so as you guys know, I do like making crest designs for my own characters as well, not just my Saniwa or other people's Saniwa, because I think it's such an interesting way to like make an identity for yourself, because it's like I don't want to call it a logo, because a logo has of like kind of like a businessy kind of vibe to it, so I don't want to call it that, but it's such a unique way to identify yourself, and you can put it on basically anything. Like you can put it on your clothes, you can put it on maybe your notebooks, you can maybe make a stamp out of it, and it would serve as your signature in a way. So I want to be able to understand the ones in this category more, because I think I could learn a lot from them, which I think I would be able to apply to my own design choices in the future, you know. And like I just like swords, so if I'm able to interpret their crests better, I feel like that would also lead me to more appreciation towards that sword itself, right? In case you missed it, Nagasoni's crest. His crest is just Kondo Isami's crest. Oh, really? Like, I actually wasn't aware of that. So, if it's actually just his like, as in Kondo, as in his families, or just him as a person? But if that's the case, yeah, I guess we could move it over there. Like, that's pretty cool. I wasn't aware of that. Thank you very much again, Mona. You're such an MVP for this stream. A bit plain, but not bad. Like I mentioned, ones that I feel like they could have done better with to make them more unique to the sword, because the ones in this category aren't like, let's say, Dotanuki, who is representative of all the Dotanuki swords that were ever made, that like by the school, like that their very concept of like, or rather philosophy for why they make swords. So like him having a plainer symbol crest, it makes sense because he's also just kind of a plain guy as well. That's how he wants to be. But these ones, they're like very unique and individual swords. Well, I guess that's a bit to be contested for Hirano and Maeda, since they were mainly just Omamori swords, like protective swords, that they don't have any specific anecdotes. So I guess, like, there's not a lot to be done with them, but I also feel like they shouldn't have been this similar because it's a bit hard to tell at a glance which is which. I mean, like, part of it is also probably because I'm not Japanese or unfamiliar with looking at kanji, so but like, I feel like when it comes to crests, they should transcend language in a way, because they don't use words. So if I have to know a certain language to like tell these two crests apart, there's a bit of trouble in there. Like, that's my opinion. And Donbo, yeah, surprisingly, I think his needs a bit more work. Monoyoshi, I feel like they could have stylized him a bit more like the one that shows up in Kuwana's. Like, I think it would have made it look a bit more distinctive. Shichise, we just discussed that. Yeah. Not bad. Not sure if it's families or just his own. But thank you again, Mono. So, Son is one of your Oshis. Oh, really? Nice taste. Good taste, Mono. Not bad. It was very informative. Thank you, Iwi. I talked so much. That was over an hour. Like, almost an hour and a half. Okay. So, self-explanatory. Yeah. These ones. I think these ones aren't, again, these ones aren't bad. I just think there's not a whole lot to like talk about them, because it's what you see is what you get. Nakigitsune, there's a fox. Ichigo, Hitofuri, Toyotomi's sword, so he has their clan crest. Namazuo's has a catfish, so on and so forth. And I know I said I might talk about Nukemaru's, but I actually don't know what, like, I haven't done much research on him yet. Like, maybe I'll post about him on Twitter, like, especially when we get a clearer view of his sword crest. But for now, he has to sit patiently for me to get what I need to do some research on him. But I do think he's a very cool sword, and I look forward to hearing how he sounds, how his other sprites look like. I also hope he actually shows up in my citadel. Please, Lord. So, that's it. I managed to get through the stream and talk about all of these sword boy crests. I'm glad to have you guys here with me. It's been quite fun knowing that you guys are here listening to me live. Because, like, of course, I'm leaving this up as an archive, because I do think it is a very interesting topic, and it is an easier format to talk about it compared to like just writing it down in text and such, and it's a bit more engaging. So, turn it to find away because thank you though. Like, it means a lot to me that you think you'd come back and rewatch this, because although personally I do think I might rewatch this myself as well, because a lot of these things, like, of course I talked about it so I know it, but I also do forget, like, what did I say back then? Like, I know this, but it sometimes my brain can't access that memory. But yeah, I'm very glad you guys enjoyed it. Thank you for the stream. I learned a lot, especially, so of course I thank you as well, Mono. Like, I have been thinking you this whole time. Like, you were also very helpful in like sharing what you think and the ones that I didn't know about it at all. Like, from what you've shared, I'm actually quite excited to like get off stream and like look into those. So I'm very glad to have you guys here to like share stories and like just appreciate sword art with me. And well, I don't have any plans for what my next stream will be, but okay, since we're here, I haven't talked about this on Twitter yet because I don't know how to word it, but since we're here, I'm planning to like make a video essay about Token Ranbu. Like, you know, like basically it's gonna be like a sort of deep dive into Token Ranbo because I'm honestly kind of annoyed at the English coverage the game gets. Like, you guys have seen the articles, like they're like, oh, this is an otome game, oh, just sexy sword boys, blah blah blah, and like it's just made by people who don't know the franchise, which I mean, it's fair. It's not everyone's cup of tea, but I also feel like they didn't do it justice, which means that people that might have liked it may not have tried it because they read their article. So I kind of wanna get in on there, make my video essay. Yeah, let's go. It'll take a while because I still need to like write the script. Like, yeah, like my streams are usually unscripted. I just like to run my mouth. I just have some notes on the side usually, but that one will need a script because I want to make sure to get to like discuss all the as much of the franchise as possible. So like there's the concept, there's the history, there's the impact on museums, the spin-offs, lots and lots of things that we could discuss that I think deserve to be talked about as well, because I feel like a lot of people are turned off from the franchise because they think, oh, it's a game and it's in Japanese, or like they don't like the format, which is fair. It's a PowerPoint game. Like, that's not for everyone. But I feel like they shouldn't miss out on swords anyway, because we have the animes, we have the musicals, and honestly, you can also just enjoy swords without actually actively engaging in those things. It could just be like pick a favorite, then engage with the community. And I feel like the Swamp doesn't really mind that. Like, oh, you like this boy? Then welcome. Enjoy your boy. Here's some fan art of him, right? So I learned through whatever Sword Swamp says on main, right? I love the Sword Swamp culture of just sharing information and being crazy about like trying to guess new swords and talking about their backgrounds. So I want to make a video essay for Token Ranbu because I think the franchise deserves it, especially from me personally, because it's been such a huge part of my life, and I won't let it be done dirty by these articles anymore. I'm sick of it. It deserves to be known properly. So yeah, it's in the outlining stages, the script. So eventually I will announce the stream for that, because basically I'm too lazy to like edit everything in like a video editing software. So I'm just going to what I'm gonna do is gonna stream it live. Like, I'm just gonna have the slides ready and then just reading the script and like going through the slides and just leave it up as an archive here on YouTube. Then that's basically the same thing. It's probably gonna be a little scuffed and messy, but I'm quite excited for it. And I just really want to talk about it, like why this franchise has such a vice grip on me, you know? But yeah, enough of that. Like, since you're here, congrats, you got a little preview of probably the next big thing that's gonna be from me on my YouTube channel. So I guess we should like call it a night now. Like, I've been talking for basically an hour and a half. Thank you so much for being here with me, and for everyone watching this back as an archive, thank you so much for watching. Like, I hope you found, like, I hope I was able to discuss some of your favorites as like pretty well. Or tell me you never played Token Ranbu without saying you never played Token Ranbu. Yeah, that's really the vibe of it. So like I hope that by when I get my sword essay done, I hope people will give it more of a chance because of it, because there's a better explanation of it by someone who actually likes the franchise. So yeah, I hope I was able to like really just share a lot of my own personal opinions and preferences about these crests. And if one of the if your faves is one of the swords I wasn't able to share much about, I highly encourage you to either leave a comment down below in like the comment sections of this video, or you can go share it over on Twitter with me. Like, you could like at me or like send it to my DMs. Just please, I love the culture of sharing in the Sword Swamps, and I would like to promote it here. Thank you so much for being here, everyone. And good night. That's the end of it. See you sometime soon, or just hang out on Twitter. Bye bye. Bye bye.